Welcome to the Academic Woman Amplified podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Mazak, tenured full professor, mom of three, and firm believer that the culture of academia needs to change radically. Women are revolutionizing academia within institutions that were not built for us. If you're ready to reject the culture of overwork, kick guilt and overwhelm to the curb, and amplify your voice to make a real impact on your field without breaking down or burning out, you're in the right place. And it all starts with writing. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to the podcast today. I'm so glad that you're here. Today, we are talking about what pre-tenure should feel like. So first, I want to give a shout out to all of my international listeners who might not use the word tenure. I want to let you know that really this early career period where you are in this process of proving yourself and going up for review and then eventually getting the stamp of approval at some point around year 5 or 6 of your career, well, it's really a very similar struggle all around the world for academics. When we're talking about that equivalent of a tenure track line, right? A full-time, quote unquote, permanent line. So that said, let's talk about what that process, those first 5 years in that permanent line, right? What it should feel like. Now, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about what it does feel like. So let me know if this resonates with you. What pre-tenure feels like for a lot of people is scary, right? Because if you don't do enough, fast enough, the consequence of going up for tenure and not getting it is that you lose your job. It is so amazingly scary and high stakes because, as we know, academic jobs are really hard to come by, right? Like those tenure track lines or the equivalent of tenure track lines are difficult to find and land because the market is so saturated and the fast capitalist university is moving more and more towards using adjunct faculty and precarious positions instead of tenure track or permanent lines. So it's very scary to think about the process of not getting tenure. And what that means is that a lot of our actions pre-tenure are understandably motivated by fear. It feels scary to think that you might not go fast enough and do enough in order to go up for tenure and win it easily. Pre-tenure, in a very related way, feels insecure. It feels like you're walking on uneven ground because, or maybe a tightrope, maybe that's a better kind of analogy. It feels like you're walking a tightrope because you're afraid to say no or talk frankly about your needs and your wants, and even sometimes to talk frankly about your research area, right? And what you really are trying to do with your scholarship. And the reason that feels like, you're walking on eggshells, there's another analogy, right? That insecurity of walking on eggshells and not knowing what's going to happen if you say something and kind of piss somebody off, because it feels like, and it doesn't just feel like it, but it's true to an extent, that the people who will review your tenure file have your future in their hands, right? As we said, it's high stakes, it's scary, you could lose your job. And so it's understandable that you would feel afraid or insecure about really speaking out, about saying no, about any of those things that you probably need to do in order to have boundaries and be like productive and happy pre-tenure. Pre-tenure also feels exhausting because of all the things that I just mentioned, but also because it feels like you can never catch up. So I remember back when I got my tenure track job, I was so excited because it was like the ideal job. It was the job that I had dreamed about getting. It was at my target institution. It was where, my partner and I wanted to be. and teaching the population of students and in an environment that I really, really loved. But it's like so many things get thrown at you at once, right? I was teaching a 4-4 load. I had a course release to do some educational technology related stuff, which it turned out to be not very educational and more just technology. But I had a bunch of new preps. I had to learn what this population of students was like to teach. I had to navigate my departmental politics. I had to navigate my College of Arts and Sciences politics. I was trying to, in my situation, I was going to faculty meetings at the college level in Spanish, which was like a whole new world since my Spanish was very colloquial when I started at University of Puerto Rico. And so it was like stepping into the Real Academia and listening to people talk. And I'm like, what is going on here? I was so scared to say anything. So I'm trying to be able to read between the lines and understand people's intentions and not only their words. Extra complicated for me in my second language, but that's something that you do in your first language too, if your first language aligns with the language of your college, right? You have to figure out those politics and this person's saying this, is that what they really mean? And all of that, not just at the faculty level, but also at your department level, right? You're kind of scoping out who is who and the different roles they play. There's so much learning that takes place. So all of that, and in addition, you need to learn the unspoken requirements for tenure. In addition to the spoken, articulated requirements for tenure, you need to become an active member of the wider academic community, right? Outside of your university, perhaps going to conferences, joining professional organizations, making connections. It's so much to learn in a short period of time. And even though some universities do have faculty orientations, most of the time a faculty orientation, what they're teaching you is, the list of tenure requirements, or here's where things are and who does what at our university. Not really how to be successful pre-tenure, right? How to manage all the ways that you feel like you're pulled in 1,000 directions. How to manage that exhaustion that you feel because you feel like you can never catch up, right? You've got your own work that you want to advance. You've got all this navigating the institution that you've got to figure out. You've got making your mark in your field. You've got your personal life, which maybe now has been uprooted and moved to a new place since so many academics move in order to take a position. So really, it's completely exhausting. All right, now I want to talk about what pre-tenure should feel like. Okay, so let's step into the realm of the ideal. If we could create the feelings that we have pre-tenure, what feelings would we ideally have? And again, this might be different for you. I'm going to offer you some ideas here about what pre-tenure should feel like. So pre-tenure should feel fulfilling. Right? I mean, really what you're doing is you're going through a developmental process of figuring out who you want to be as a scholar and the impact that you want to make on the world with your scholarship. So whereas pre-tenure might feel like you're trying to always trying to catch up, what we want it to feel like, or what it should feel like, is this kind of heightened awareness that you are in a moment of your career that's about 5 years long, where you are in this very reflective and hopefully fulfilling process of figuring out your scholarship. It might be a time where you take what you worked on in your dissertation and you kind of figure out what the next big step is. It might be a time where you break with what you did before. It might be a time where you try a couple of new things and then end up landing over the course of several years on what that impact you want to make with your scholarship is going to be. Because this is a process, right? It's a process of discovery. It's a process of development, and it's a understandable part of the development of a lengthy career. So pre-tenure should feel fulfilling. Okay, Pre-tenure should also feel exciting. And notice that like exciting is a positive word. It's like, it feels maybe stressful and scary, and things that are stressful and scary can also be exciting. But I really want to lean into the exciting part of what pre-tenure should feel like. So it's exciting because you're setting the foundation of that scholarship that you want to create through potentially early career grants, strategic publications, and really creating that academic community around yourself, right? Connecting with other scholars in your field, meeting new people, all of that is really exciting. And it should be exciting, right? Instead of feeling scary, I would just love for everyone to feel excited pre-tenure, excited about what they are going to create. Academia is a long haul career. Of course, there are people who leave it and go off and do different things and don't stay for 30 years inside of academia, but many people do as well. And so what you're really doing in those first 5 years is you're setting up like the blocks of the foundation for what will be your path. And that's really exciting because it's this really intense process of creation. All right. Now, the other thing that pre-tenure definitely should be and how it should feel is strategic. Okay. So I don't know how you feel about strategy, but I love to think about being strategic and making choices that are going to lead to the payoffs that I really want. So pre-tenure should absolutely be strategic. During this process of the first 5 years or so of your career, what you're doing is strategically working to align your teaching, your research, and your service around your academic mission, right? Align it around this foundation that you're trying to create for your career. And you're going to make strategic choices during that time. And I think it feels like really badass to be strategic, to say like, okay, I'm going to submit to this journal's call for a special issue. And then I'm going to get to meet all the other authors who have contributed to that special issue and work with them and have my work sit alongside of them. And so I'm creating really strategically this community that's in conversation around my field, stuff like that. Like really making strategic choices about what conferences to go to, who to talk to while you're there. And I don't mean manipulative kind of strategy. I mean like, hey, who do I need to be in the room with? And then figuring out how to make that happen. And then the last part that I want to talk about today, and this is maybe the hardest to believe, but I really believe that pre-tenure should and can feel spacious and easeful. Okay. It is not easy. The things that you are doing, even just like the scholarly problems that you are solving, are not easily solvable problems, right? It's taking all of your effort and your brain power and your incredible mind in order to solve your scholarly problems, right? So it's not easy, but it could be a process where there is ease, where there is space. It does not have to be that you feel like you are running on a treadmill, set 2 clicks too fast. So you got to like run and run and run to keep up. It should not be that you are working nights and weekends unless you choose, like some people really enjoy getting to some of their writing on a weekend, but it shouldn't be that you are obligated to work 60-hour weeks just to feel like you are barely treading water. It should feel spacious. It should feel easeful. There should be room to think because your whole job is so much about thinking, right? So how do you make that happen is a question I'll answer, or I'll give you some suggestions in just a second. But the hardest part about it is believing that pre-tenure or even just being an academic can feel that way for you. Right? Because we are so imprinted with the glorification of busy and the, like everybody's working all the time. Everybody feels exhausted all the time. Those things of what, it actually feels like are like imprinted in our brains. And so creating an experience that's different from that feels like, you got to be kidding me, you know? But what it is actually is revolutionary. What it is absolutely rebellious in the best way. So if you get to do, what if all academic women pre-tenure felt spaciousness in their day? Like, how would knowledge making change if instead of getting knowledge making from people who are stressed to their limit, the world got knowledge making from people who felt like they were standing in their power, for people who felt like they had time to have thoughts, right? Like, how would the world be different? How would academia be different if knowledge production wasn't steeped in overwork and instead was, again, what I think it should be, which is a process of creation that is fulfilling, that is exciting, that is strategic, and that is spacious, right? It's really powerful to stand in a position where you feel like you are the designer of your career, where you are, very purposefully and with intention setting the foundation for what you will create with your amazing brain. So I will be very revolutionary and say you can feel spacious, confident, and aligned pre-tenure. Now, I'm sure there are many ways to go about cultivating these pre-tenure, what pre-tenure should feel like that we've been talking about today. But I want to talk to you about one of them, and that is our Amplify program. So as you know, if you're a listener of this podcast, this is what I think about all the time. I think about how can we make the experience of academia better for women? How can we make it feel like we want it to feel? And let me remind you that, in our Amplify program, that's what we work on. We work on how to make that pre-tenure experience fulfilling, exciting, strategic, and spacious. We make it feel, we want it to feel for you a certain way because we know that that feeling is going to be better for you. It's going to be creating something that isn't going to burn you out. And that is good, like, for the universe, in my opinion. So if you're listening to this podcast the week that it drops, we are in enrollment for our Amplify program. Amplify is running just once this year in September, and it's a 6-month program that runs September through February. Amplify is for pre-tenure or early career women who want to go up for tenure or promotion with confidence. We work on your writing practice, we work on your big idea mission, and we work on building the foundation of your career through this very intimate group coaching program. We would love to give you all the information about it. And so here's what we're doing right now. We are accepting applications to one of our 36 spots. We're running 3 cohorts of 12 for 36 spots. Spots are already filling because we've been filling since the end of June. So what we would love for you to do is apply to the program. So the link to the application is going to be in the description of this podcast, or you can go to kathymazek.com/amplify for more information. I would love to have you apply. And here's the process. We look at your application. We decide if we think that you're a good fit for our program. What we're looking for there is your career stage, and we ask a few questions about you so we can get to know you a little bit. And then if your application is accepted, you're going to get an invitation to our invited only training that is happening in early August. In this invitation-only training, we focus on your pipeline. You're not going to want to miss this training. So if you want to get in on the training, get a sample of what Amplify is like, we encourage you to apply. You must apply and be accepted in order to attend the training. All right, we'll see you there. I'm so honored that you spent your valuable time listening to this episode. Thank you. Before I go, I want to ask you, do you have an almost done article languishing in a virtual drawer? How about a new writing project that you just haven't been able to make the time to start yet? How about a piece of writing in the messy middle that you need to revive? Well, I've got the solution for you, Writing Sprint Blueprint. The Writing Sprint Blueprint is a powerful productivity tool for overwhelmed academics who want to get stalled out publications out of their pipelines and into the world. And it's only $27. And when you grab Writing Sprint Blueprint, you'll get my private motivational podcast feed called Stick to the Plan. It's 10 mini episodes of around a minute each that you can listen to right from your favorite podcast app to motivate you during your writing sprint. So what are you waiting for? Follow the link in the show notes to get Writing Sprint Blueprint today. I'll see you inside.